Hello and welcome to On Call with the Prairie Doc After Hours. And we had more questions than we could answer, and so we wanted to bring them back to you and put them on our site and do a chance to get the answers to you. We had a question from a man from Brookings that asked about religion in all of this. Where does the church, the synagogue, the mosque, where does religion fit in the humanities? I mean, it was on our list. Where does the understanding of the spirit or the search for the mystery of the spirit go in this whole story, Nels?
I'd like to refer to a book I recently read, Rick, by C.S. Lewis. And the name of the book is called The Abolition of Man. And in that book, he describes what we were talking about earlier this evening about attempting to find some objective criteria to define as fundamental principles of how we should operate. And he was so convincing and so thorough in his discussion that he mentioned the fact during the course of the text that if we fail to come up with these fundamental principles of how we should operate or order our lives, then ultimately we will cease to be human beings. It will become the abolition of man. So I thought that was a pretty fundamental lesson, and I thought that was very important.
And religion is in that?
Yes, he's a deeply theological individual.
Yes, he is, of course.
And he says in the text that virtually every religion, every branch of religion, every conceivable religion in the earth has embedded within it some kind of statement of the golden rule.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very interesting as well.
I wrote about this in my book.
Yes.
I sense that the golden rule is, basically the principles of the Ten Commandments.
Absolutely.
Put together in a more simpler manner. And all of the religions seem to have the golden rule in it, don't they? Jerry, any comment about that?
Well, just that we talked earlier about the complexity of human lives, the multiple layers, and religious belief is such an integral part of humanity, has been for eons. And so I think we have to recognize that religion and belief and trust and love as such a crucial part of who we are and how we treat people.
Okay. A woman from Walford, Iowa asks, could you elaborate on time allotment with your doctor during an office visit? Due to insurance and Medicare, I'm only allotted 15 minutes and feel rushed through. From a humanitarian standpoint, is that right? If it's not enough time for me to connect with my doctor.
This is a problem that practitioners are talking about, and students. I was surprised how much students bring this up and worry about it, because there are pressures to move efficiently and have limited time periods to see patients. I think in a person with a complex problem, you can't do it in 10 or 15 minutes.
No, you can't.
As a neurologist, I feel very fortunate. I feel I have the amount of time I need to discover what the problem is. But it's different than being on the front lines of a primary care practice, where you might have so many people who need care that you simply can't always devote 30, 40, 50 minutes to.
My whole story of my life was that I did. And then I was late for the next guy.
Sure.
And then I was later for the next guy.
Yeah.
And then I was always late. And then I lost a bunch of patients because they were tired of waiting. They did not like it. And so the ones that were willing to wait were the ones that ended up my patients, because I was always late.
But part of this has to do with the collegial care I was talking about too. If a person is waiting and not being talked to and cared for, it's very dissatisfying. But in my practice, frequently the nurses are getting some data while I'm doing other things, and if we're truly working together, hopefully the patient's able to report his or her problem in sufficient detail and still feels that they're not just out there waiting too long.
They get some time with the nurse too.
Yeah.
The other side of that is that computer is drawing our attention away from the patient, which is, I think, a very sad
And people do it differently. I mean, there are many physicians now who type in the computer while they're talking to the patient.
Sure,
So if you're,
of course.
I do not do that at all. I just see that as too intrusive to the
Disconcerting.
physician-patient relationship. I never go into the computer unless I want to show the person an image or something.
Yeah. So
I
Rick-
think talk to them.
So Rick, I heard the story about a physician at a well-known clinic who said, if we can't get our discussion finalized in the 15 or 20 minutes I have, you come back at 5:15 and go to the back door of the clinic, and I'll open it up. You can come back in and we can talk some more. What do you think about that?
Right. that I think it's a wonderful and compassionate thing, but then of course that physician may not be the best husband and dad.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
and
So there are trade-offs, aren't there?
this is a hard world, and to be a compassionate physician, I told people up front from the very beginning, I need more time with my patient, and they, nope, you've got this amount, and they would schedule them.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you do a good job, more people want in. And then you got more patients, and then it's even worse.
Yeah.
It's a dilemma. We have the last question. What is that? That's an old Johnny Carson thing. Karnak. And what is the answer to the last question? A woman from Rapid City asks how much training in medical school is provided about addiction, alcohol and drugs, and is it enough? Do they really approach it from the position of an illness and not a moral failing?
We're improving. We're improving, and there's an increasing emphasis in our medical schools and medical schools around the country to give some excellent training in what it means as an illness to have addiction and what are the measures to try to cope with it. It's not enough, but we're making progress.
See them as a human being.
Absolutely.
I'll give one comment that I read an article, I listened to a thing on National Public Radio this week, and it was about obesity. And we know full well that the very best weight reduction programs, 30% will lose weight. Only 30%, 70% won't. And after 1 year, only 10% will have kept it off. And after 5 years, it's 1% or less.
Yeah. Yeah.
In other words, there's something more than that we know. But physicians have a tendency to say, and other people, the people in society says, bad, lovingly, you know, you're a lazy person, you overeat, on and on and on. And we make judgments. And my answer is, it is an illness that we don't understand. It is hard on ourselves. We have sleep apnea from it. We have diabetes from it, and our whole society is turned toward pretty is thin, which doesn't reflect the soul of the individual. So we've done a disservice there, and we could do better. Any comments about that, and then we're done.
I agree. I agree.
Thank you for joining us on our Facebook page. We appreciate all of your questions and the opportunity to answer them. And until next time, from all of us at On Call with the Prairie Doc, stay healthy out there, people.